Alright, here's a presentation I made for transforming yellow Goku Black. So I just want to say this picture is very important because it depicts this entire character's existence. He's a bunch of ass. So let's look at his history. It was Legends Festival 2024, which is arguably the second biggest celebration in the game. First being Anniversary. Personally, I think Anniversary is better and bigger. So yeah, second biggest celebration. And at this time, the character choices were meh because we're getting another Vegito Blue, which I don't mind, but in the grand schemes of things, the animations were all that, and they reused voice lines which I didn't like. And the future tag itself, it was very important because the tag wasn't buffed in a very long time. So the community thought we were gonna also get LF Synchro Gauge Zamasu because if you look at the anniversary, that was the last time we did get a Synchro Gauge character, which was Vegito and Gogeta. So naturally we thought that during Legends Festival the Sick mechanic come back. Spoiler alert, it did not. And we ended up getting a standalone Zamasu like in January, I think. January or February. And the community did not like this. However, Goku Black's transformation animation is very fudging cool. It's very nice. They snapped on that. Alright, let's talk about the kit. My boy, he had an identity crisis. What were they cooking? If you see, the main problem is that he had tons of minuscule issues, which creates like a big flaw because it adds up. And like if you look at Dragon Ball Legends right now, every character can do everything very well. So he didn't excel at a certain trait. For example, he is a defensive type unit, but he doesn't have the best defensive gimmicks. His damage was good as well, but it wasn't great because he doesn't have long combos. He also had cover null support, which is cool, I guess. But guess what? 99.9% of characters released have cover null. So what was the point of giving him that? I would say the new Red Zamasu barely has cover null, so that could work, but why would you be running a subpar character, right? With leader slot, you can throw anything in the leader slot. And that cover null support, which he doesn't apply on himself, he applies to the enemies. That's only good for like characters that don't have cover null. So older characters or newer characters which they have cover null because they can't afford to not give them cover null in this day of age, bro. It's not possible. Okay, let's look at his base form. I'm gonna just be talking about like the issues that I have with him. So in base form, first of all, he does not have blast armor. This is a Legends 2024 character. In base form, he doesn't have blast armor. Are you trolling me? Legends 2024. I'm not talking about a monthly release. Hell no. Okay, you can actually argue that Legends 2024 this year felt like just a monthly celebration. You got it, bruh. So he had no blast armor on strikes. Right away, stupid. And then his green card, he didn't do enough. Bro, those melee green cards are so hard to get. They should be spoon feeding you a lot like babies. So in my opinion, it should have been more polarizing because it doesn't seal main ability or rush. So what could end up happening is that you pop it, your opponent pops their main. Let's use Vegeta Blue as an example because he did release along this guy. He gets his vanish back, so he can just vanish again. And then you have to work so hard to get that green card off that you can't even use it. Stupid, bro. And it locks rush. And this is a problem with 99.9% of transforming characters, but I don't like it. But there's no reason to stay in base form at all. He should have been doing something unique that goes to his base, to his transformation, like I don't know, stack attack or something. I don't know. And then his identity is to be a healer and a disruptor through his gauge, but his gauge is difficult to reset, and his gauge isn't like crazy annoying, like Ultra Turles's revive. So yeah, okay. Now let's look at him transform. So I said this like 29 seconds ago. My main issue is that resetting his gauge is really difficult. They could have either made his gauge charge faster and or made his gauge reset on switch so it's consistent. The problem with him is that it's not consistent to reset your gauge. That's a big problem. They could have fixed him by giving him blues or greens from part of his kit other than his main ability, because resetting his gauge feels like RNG. And let's be honest, he if there's a blue, you would prefer to use it on a different character. If there's a green, you would prefer to use it on a different character. But Goku Black requires so much for what? What? Why? Well, he's such a baby, bruh. Do it yourself. He should have drew blue maybe on transformation, and then his transformation isn't that good. I'm not talking about like I'm talking about when he transforms the things that he gets, right? So he gets damage inflicted, key recovery, health, and cover null. My biggest issue is that when you're going from base to transform, you should be getting cards to extend your combos. I don't know who was smoking the good kush, but he does not get any blues, greens, strikes, or blasts to extend combos or reset his gauge when he transforms. That's so stupid, bruh. And like main thing that was annoying about him was that his endurance and buff cancellation is the only annoying thing about him. Guess what? You know Red Mai? You could have rushed. Granted, it wasn't directly on Goku Black. You switched out from one character to Goku Black, and Mai's rush would have went through. Like, there's three characters, and if you were in Vegito, and then you switch out to Goku Black to quote unquote tanks Mai rush, brother, she has endurance nullification, and the buff cancellation won't go through, right? So he can get rushed like that, and then he also doesn't cancel buffs on blues, so Dama Goku can cook him in few cards, bro. So as a defensive unit, of course, he should have had more annoying things about him. Maybe as a main ability or on like a mechanic or on a unique. Like, let's look at Turles. Do we even talk about Turles more? Oh, let's look at Turles as an example, because Turles did release before him. Turles is so fudging annoying. His comeback is so annoying. That's the type of mechanic he should have had. Something like a comeback. Those mechanics are honestly very toxic, but they're good. And that's what makes defensive characters good. And he doesn't have that. So again, what does my wide Goku Black do? Okay, another problem. He released alongside Vegito Blue. Vegito Blue was on his King Vaughn on his release, bro. I swear. He was doing 9-9 combos to everybody. This guy did not care if you had Cringe, Majin Vegeta Gauge, or whatever. He was just comboing anybody. The only problem with him now is that maybe transforming with his full gauge kind of takes some time. But one of Goku Black's biggest counter was the character that released alongside him. You gotta be trolling. His counter was his counterpart. That's such bad game design or whatever. It's really bad, whatever. And then Vegito Blue's gauge ignored gauges, so bro did not care about Goku's Black. Goku's Black? What? Goku Black's gauge? That sounded mad racist, which I'm not trying to be. Sorry. What am I saying? Oh yeah, Goku Black's gauge did not work on Vegito, so the character that released alongside him cream pied him, like, makes no sense, right? And then I said before, like, Vegito does 999 combos, which was one of Goku Black's weaknesses, so yeah. And then worst part, at that time, Vegito was considered number one, while tons of people didn't even think Goku Black was top 10. Like Goresh, for example. Personally, I did think he was 8 to 10 range, but if you said he wasn't 10, I didn't give three shits, bruh. You probably right. And then let's talk about the future team. So they essentially fumbled the future tag during the celebration because Vegito was better off future. He was OP on fusions, and then Goku Black was quote unquote usable on powerful opponents because the only good thing about him was that Broly's Broly's was a HP buffer and he Zenkai buffed PO, so he Zenkai buffed that Goku Black. Pretty good. So the main future team during his release was Vegito, Mai, And then people would run a broken character on leader slot, like Turles, uh, Majin Vegeta, the other Goku, the yellow one, the movie Turles movie one, Gotenks. Like, why would you? Okay, tell me this regarding attack, or me. I mean, like damage and stuff. Goku Black isn't better than Gotenks. Why would you run him for damage and even for defense? No troll. I would even argue with you that Turles and Ultra Majin Vegetas, their defensive gimmicks were better than Goku Black's because for Majin Vegeta, I don't even need to explain it. He's still usable today. That tells you something. Same thing with Turles. The fudging you can't blast. That thing is toxic, and I would argue that that's better than what Goku Black does because he literally just reset. He gets free damage and resets neutral 3 times. Then he also has his debuff. Honestly, he felt defensively the same. So that's crazy. One is not a defensive character, one is a defensive character. W design, W Toshi. Alright. And then another thing, Goku Black is strike based and the other two are blast based, so that made awkward synergy between them. And he wasn't like an amazing tank, so you could just leader slot Turles. I said this 1 billion times. I keep on regurgitating. Why would you run Goku Black over Turles? You wouldn't. And then because he was so mid, everybody started spamming the hashtag buff Goku Black because a year ago LF Goku and Frieza were also very undertuned, but they did end up buffing Goku and Frieza and made them number one. Got on their part, honestly. Only difference was I think they released only one character during part one of Legends Festival, so of course they had to buff them, right? But they also included that this was a one-time thing. They will never do this again. So it was just endless banter of nothing going to be done. And then because he was so mid, and trust me, the development team knows when a character is mid versus when they're not, because they look at social media and stuff. They knew he was undertuned. So 2 weeks after he released, he got a quote unquote unique equipment. It's not a unique equipment, but technically it is because it's for a Goku Black and a defensive type. Who is an undertuned Goku Black and a defensive type that released 2 weeks ago? And the equipment itself, I mean, it's good. Its stats just makes him hit harder, tank better. But his issue was not his stats, it's his defensive gimmicks, in my opinion. So that's that, right? Okay. TLDR, this guy is such a bum release. He was such an important release, they fumbled and they barely fixed him. I have a conspiracy theory. They always undertune a character so they can buff them sooner or later. Goku Black will get buffed. He will become very good because his skeleton is good. That's just a conspiracy theory. They did forgot Goku, right? His baseline was good. They buffed him and he's like top 5. So who cares? If you made this fun video, like, subscribe, and peace.